Hello. Okay, so next up, told you guys we were going to work on our calves. So around this ankle area, we're going to have a part that's going to fold down. Okay, so we're going to take our measurements for this. Okay, you can just go right straight across. And we've got 4 inches we're going to write. I'm just writing it down here so that, okay. Now you want to go from this back seam all the way up to there. You know what? I'm going to do it this way. Let's start on this side. That's easier for me. Okay, make sure you're not pulling that. Like, just gentle kind of go all the way around. And you can see the center, I've got about 6 inches. So I'm going to write that on this side. 6 inches. Now we're going to do the other side. Okay, because when you're sewing, these can get, sometimes they can get shifted. So we want to double check and make sure. I mean, technically this side and this side should be the same, but they could be slightly off. See, we're sitting, you see that? So it is sitting a little over 6 inches, but not a ton. So I'm just going to go with 6 inches for both sides. Okay. So now we're taking our leather. Always check that you're not working over top of holes. Okay, so I need 6 inches and 6 inches, right? So 12 inches total, which is exactly what my ruler is. I'm going to make a nice smooth edge. And this cutoff that I'm doing right now, that can be used later as one of my strips. Okay, so a really easy way to figure out how thick you want it, at least for an adult moccasin. I mean, you might want to adjust it for if you were doing a kid's, but I'm just going to do that. Okay, now I'm taking this down. And I'm going to do another line across there. Okay, so I'm going to mark my 12, my 6, and my 0. Okay, I happen to have a square, so I'm going to use that. Okay, so that's 6, 6. We're going to need to do another 4. I have enough room to extend that over. I think I probably do. So I'm just going to run that line out. Okay, we're sitting at 5. We need 4 more. That's 9. Okay, and we're going to cut those. Okay, save this strip for later. We can use that. It's a nice thick strip. I will be able to use that too, probably. So don't throw those scraps away. Okay. So we've got one side, 2 sides. Now it's going to go there. Okay, so we're going to pause, move up to my desk, and we can start working on those. Okay, so we are back. I'm just starting myself a new needle here. My needle's starting to get pretty bent up there. We'll see how long it survives. I tend to go through quite a few needles doing this. They just decide when they've had enough and they snap off. So let's line that up to our edges, okay? Let's do a clip there. And a clip there. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my my middle piece, my little, maybe we can use this one. Yeah, we can use that one. Okay, let's do that. So don't forget to put your strip in between, okay? I want to just hang that a little over the edge, just make my life easier. We'll cut them off later. Every once in a while, I forget and I sew that up, and then I look at it and I go, oh no, I forgot my strip, and I have to take it all apart and redo it. So let's try to not do that this time. Okay, now this is where our cutout was there, right? We're just gonna kind of try to adjust that. Push it down a little bit so that when we get there, everything's going to be lined up and flush. Right? That was our little notch that we cut out in the vamp. Okay. I'm going to cut that because that's, if I wanted to, I could maybe run it around this side, but it's pretty thin there, so I'm just going to cut it off. Left my scissors on the floor. Give me 1 minute. Just give that a okay. So I could clip on all of these edges. I'm not going to bother doing that right now because they're just going to probably get in the way. So I'll start working my way around and add them on as I need. Yeah, so that first one, we're going to lock it in. And once again, if you can see where I started my stitching, so you always leave a little bit of extra on the end. So I started in about 1/8 of an inch, and it's lined up fairly close to, see where my other stitching ended? It's there. And I'm just going to whip stitch this across again. If you want to do your locking stitch, go ahead and do your locking stitch. Locking stitch is always best. But, I mean, you're doing twice the amount of work, right? So, for the sake of tutorial, and like I said before, these are for my son. So, not overly concerned about it. He tends to wear through his shoes pretty quick. poked myself a little bit. Just gonna go clean that up and I'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. These Glover's needles are just like crazy sharp. It doesn't take much to tiniest little poke and you've got a problem. They can slice through leather. They definitely slice through your finger, so just be very careful. Yeah, now I've come to the end. I've got about a 1/8 of an inch left there. Okay, I'm gonna go through that last hole again. And we're gonna lock this in. Okay, at this point we can cut these off. You can leave it till the end if you want, but I'm just going to get them out of my way. So this one, I'm going to look at it and cut it right where, so you can see my other one has come up there. I'm going to cut it right straight up there. Okay, and again on the other side. Okay. So now we're going to do the side. So I've got some marks there. Okay, this is going to look funny right now because those marks are actually showing on the outside of the moccasin. And you might think that you'd want to hide them this way. But what we're doing is we're going to have an inner layer in here afterwards and fur cuffs. And the fur is going to end up coming down and locking in along the seam. So this whole center section is going to disappear. It's going to be trapped in between the leather and the fur, right? Oh, see what I did? I almost forgot my leather strip again. I'm going to clean up that edge there. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right up to, there's our other seam. Okay, make sure it's touching there. You can even extend it a little bit further if you want. Let's extend it. I'm going to extend it about 1/8 of an inch, and we can cut that off later. That way we know that it's going to make a nice, it's going to line up and be a nice seam in there. Okay, take this middle part and run it gentle. Don't be stretching all the way to your back seam. Let's clip the ends first. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when we're messing around with it, whether you're meaning to or not, the leather can stretch. So this way we just know that we're not yanking it too much. We'll clip in the middles, and then we'll clip. Put one in between there, those spots. Okay. Put our knot back in. And just start again. Okay, getting into that corner. Okay, and you can see left about 1/8 of an inch. Back through that same hole and lock it in. 1, 2, 3. And we can do our whip stitch. Now something, you might have noticed this already, and I haven't explained that. I'm sorry for that. But so you might have noticed that I sometimes take this and I pull it over here and I hold it with my thumb. Now all that's doing is helping this to make sure that it's going to go straight across and hit right where my hole is. If I leave it over here, sometimes what will happen is it'll catch the leather and it won't go in a nice straight line like that. It'll kind of go down and up and make things look really bunchy. So I've gotten in the habit of doing this and I don't even think about it anymore, which is why I forgot to explain it to you. But I just take that and I hold it under my thumb and then I pull through. And then you can see that it's gone nicely at an angle like that without catching anything. Okay, so now I'm at that last stitch. I'm going to lock that in. And we don't have to cut this. You can leave that. Just lock it in. Okay, now this seam, I'm going to cut that there. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to cut it. Yeah, I am going to have enough to go around there. So I'm going to take this, bring it really in nice and tight again to where that last. So see, there's our line is going up. Find that and push that seam right in there nice and close. And again, okay, you're going to want, if you've got a mark showing, put it to the outside. Yeah, let's clip those in. Okay, now this is a side that, remember when I was measuring it, it was about 1/8 of an inch longer, and I decided to just go with the same size 6-inch. So this is another reason why we're going to clip the ends. Because then we will be able to make them just a little bit, bunch those together, you know? Okay, try and find out where that seam is sitting. Get everything really nice and tight in there. Clip that. Now we're going to find our center. So you can see it's a little bit, see, we've got a little bit of extra in there because this part of the moccasin was actually longer than this. So this is now where the fact that leather is stretchy comes in handy. See, I don't have to stretch anything by hand. I'm not pulling and tugging. Just kind of maneuvering it a little bit, and you can see it's all starting to work its way together, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back to this edge, and I'm going to cut that off right now, get it out of my way. Okay, so this is the side that I've still got my string hanging there. So I'm on this side, I'm going over to this side. Okay, now you want this string is going to be coming up right over the top because we're right at a funny seam there, right? So let's put our needle through again. That same hole. You can lock it once here is good. Okay, now let's go back to this other side. Again, bringing that seam straight across the top. Can you see that? Right across. I'm basically going to make a little X there. Trying to lock those in. Okay, now back to this side. Okay, pull it really nice and tight. Lock it. Okay, I'm going to go through one more time and do our 1, 2, 3. Let's lock that corner very, very tight. Okay, it's kind of just pulled everything in together. That way, later on when you flip this up, you're not going to end up with a hole there. And we can just continue along with our whip stitch now. Oh, sorry, smacking my camera. So you can see my sinew starting to get a little worn there. So I'm going to lock this in and grab a new one right now. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's get rid of this thread. Got a little piece of leather stuck in there is my problem. The older I get, the harder it is to thread a needle. My eyes are right at that in-between stage, so I normally wear glasses for seeing far. Haven't had issues with reading or anything like that my whole life, and lately my eyes are starting to get a little fuzzy, but I'm not quite ready for reading glasses, so my eye doctor told me to try taking my glasses off when I'm doing close-up work like this. And I was really surprised it actually worked. So for those that wear reading glasses and you get annoyed with having to take them on and off and on and off, well, it can also be the other way too if you wear regular glasses. I end up having to take mine on and off and on and off all the time too now. So if you've been following along and you've decided to make yourself a pair of these, I would be very interested to see your work. So you can head over to my Facebook page, Red Eagle Gifts, and come and post it up on my wall or send it to me in a message. That would be really cool. I always love to see everybody's work. And definitely don't be shy if it's your first time that you've decided to do some beadwork or something like that. I know it can be really, really intimidating to share your work, but I always love to see it. And you know, we all start out somewhere, right? Nobody picks up that needle the first time and everything just ends up straight and smooth and all of that stuff. No, it's a learning process. So you gotta be kind to yourself and share it, and don't be shy, because it encourages other people to start as well, right? Right, so I'm getting into that last area. I've got it again at about 1/8 of an inch. And lock that in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to pause and I'll be right back. Do not cut this thread, okay? We'll continue on from there. All right, so I'm back. I need to cut myself a few more little strips. So I've got 3, because what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be sewing up these 1, 2, 3 seams. Okay, so let's start in this corner. And if you can see, you want to shove that in there. Hoping it shows on the camera. Shove it right into where that last one was. So where this one's coming up, okay, we basically want to hit that. Okay, now this is the part that gets a little bit funny, is you're gonna have to pull these edges together, and that's probably require pushing your moccasin down there, okay? Push that in a little bit. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, because this is getting in my way. I'm going to cut this. Here we've got our thing flapping there. I'm going to cut that back a little bit, get it out of my way. And you can continue all the way around if you want at this point. I just need a little notch there. I'll finish it off later. Okay, let's put this back in there. Actually, I can see this one's hanging over a little bit still too. Let's get rid of that. Push that in nice and tight. Take your finger, push your moccasin down and out of your way. And we're going to start pulling in these sides. Yeah, we want those going together. Okay, bring those edges together at the top. Make sure that they're this side and this side are hitting. Okay, clip that. And you can put one in the middle too, just to make it really secure. Okay. Does everybody have a big mess on their desk yet, like I do? Okay. So now we're sitting in this corner again, and our thread is still hanging there. What we're going to do is we're going to bring it over to where our last stitch was there, and we're going to do this little lock that we did, the X lock, same one that we did at the back of the moccasin. So there's our string that's hanging off from this side. We're going to pull it right over. Okay, hold it with your thumb. Pull it through nice and tight. Okay, go through that same hole. Pull it nice and tight. Okay, now we're going back. Okay, so without our thread, it's going to end up making an X there. Okay, hold it over there. Pull it tight. And back through that hole. Now you can lock it in. 1, 2, 3. You might have to maneuver these a little bit to give yourself enough room to be able to stitch. These corners get really, really kind of funny to work with. Okay, so now we're going to come up and we're going to start there. Okay, so get in as close as you can to that corner. Okay, make sure you're catching all 3 layers, because they're going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt for this first stitch. Okay, bring your thread up and over. Okay, we're going to go through that same hole. And this time lock it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, pull everything really, really tight in there. And now we can go along and just do our simple whip stitch again. Okay, continuing up that seam. And for these ones, you can actually put in that last. So you don't have to worry about leaving that 1/8 of an inch that we've been doing, because there's nothing else going on here. We don't have to sew another piece. We will eventually be sewing around these edges, but we won't be extending anything onto here, so we don't have to leave that 1/8 of an inch like we've been doing before. Okay, so lock that in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll do it one more time. We've got a really good knot on the end there. 2, 3. Like that. And let's cut off our excess. Now is a good time to change your thread if you need more, or if your thread's getting worn down. I think I have enough left to be able to do one more on this side. You'll see how dirty my hands are, all that leather coming off. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to cut that back a little bit too, just so we're not having the same problem we were having on the other side, getting in my way. Just notching a little edge for now. We'll finish it. Now, pull these down, push that moccasin down This one here, see, got a little bit of a floppy there too. I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so we're looking for this seam coming up here, and we want to line up our new leather with that seam. Okay, and then pull these two sides together. Put our clip there. Again, find your ends. Okay, make sure your front and back are lined up perfectly. Clip there. Throw another one in the middle. Okay, so pick a side, any side at this point, it doesn't really matter. Okay, start by locking yourself in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we want this. Okay, so now we're coming out the top there. We're going to come down and we're going to go in the bottom on this side. Okay, yank that in really nice and tight. And go through again. Okay, we can lock that. Let's lock that. Oh boy. There we go. Okay. Now we're on the top this side, we're gonna X back. Pull it really nice and tight. Lock it. Okay, so we should be coming out basically at the top there now. And we're going to go through this side. Okay, we're now working our way up the seam. Okay, get in as close and tight as you can there. Okay, go through that same hole again. And lock it. 1, 2, 3. And now your simple whip stitch. Just a reminder that you do want to make sure that as you're taking off these clips, that you're holding that with your fingers, so you've got all 3 layers of this leather. It's nice and smooth and flat across there, okay? You don't want that middle section seam to slip out of your fingers and disappear. Okay, so we're at the end one, and we're going right up to the end, fairly close. I'd say I don't know. I'm not 1/8 of an inch away anymore. Anyways, I'm pretty darn close. And go through one more time. And lock it in. 1, 2, 3. Do one more. 1, 2, 3. And let's cut this inseam. Okay. See how it's starting to look there? I can actually cut these off right now. I'll give you an idea of what's going on here. Okay, so again, push your finger up in there as tight as you can get. Cut those straight. Yeah, so you can see there how that's connected. Fairly good, right? And again there. See? Those areas have lined up pretty nice. And this one I think I pushed a little too hard with my finger and ended up pushing that one down, but it's not a big deal. These are going to end up flipping, like I said. And then this will be fur, right? So that's your cuff. And this will be all beautiful fur showing. But if you wanted to flip it up, say you were taking a little walk outside or something, you wanted to flip it up, then we've got a nice finished seam there too. Okay, so now we're going to work on our back, and just so things don't get in the way, poke your heel through. Okay, it'll give us a little bit more room to see. We can pull those together now. Okay, I'm going to do a quick pause and rethread my needle. All right, figured I wouldn't make you guys suffer through that again in case I'm having issues. Okay, so we've got another strip here, and there's our heel. Okay, now, okay, we'll make this, so we don't want to screw this up and put it on the wrong side. Okay, so line that up there. Yeah, again, push that into that seam as close as you can get. Okay, let's put our clip on there. You run those two edges up together. Make sure your ends are lined up. Clip it. And again, clip your middle. Okay, so for this area, this is the back. We've already done an X going this way to this way. What we want to do now is we want to tie this seam that we're doing. Let's X it over to there. Okay. So let's remove this clip. Okay, put in our first stitch. Okay, through that same hole again. Lock it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to come over and we're going to hit this seam, the very top. Okay. You can get really nice and good and tight. Okay, through that same hole again. And what did I do with my thimble? Fell down on the ground. Okay, we've already got some knots there, so it's could be hard to push through. You might have to use your pliers. Okay, lock this. Okay, so we've got our line going down that way. Now we want our line going down that way. We're going to make it our X, okay? Okay, and push it through again. Lock it. You know, this corner is really nice and tight. We've got no holes there or anything. We'll just continue up this way with our whip stitch. Okay, we're at our end. So we're going to go through that hole again. Lock that in. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do it a second time just for good measure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, pull everything really nice and tight. Cut your thread. Cut your seam that's hanging out the end. And we can flip our shoot back. You know, we can start removing all of this seam that we've got still hanging on there, okay? Push that right up to the edges. And start cutting off. Again, be very careful you don't cut your moccasin. And we're just removing the seam. We can continue right around this edge. And the first cut doesn't have to be super tight. If you're worried because you can't see what's going on, stuff like that, just do a loose cut and then clean it up. It's way better than accidentally cutting your moccasins, right? And we can go up this back seam. Yeah, so you can see how everything lines up there. These, again, I pushed them in probably a little bit tighter than they had to be, so it should go straight, very straight across, but whatever. It's good enough. Like I said, this will be folded down. You're not going to see that unless you decide to flip that up for a nice outdoor walk or something, but I mean, nobody's going to be staring at the back of your foot there. So there you go. See, it's actually starting to look like something now, isn't it? Okay. So next up, we will be working on doing our inner layer. Make everything really nice and soft in there. Okay.